పేరు యజ్ఞ ఇదివరకు ఓహే హరే కృష్ణ
ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর হে রসে করুণা করি
বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর দাসে করুণা করি
ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর হে রসে করুণা করি
বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর
দিয়া করো ছায়া সদহে আমার দিয়া
পদ ছায়া সদয়ে হামায়া
দিয়া করো ছায়া সদহে আমার
দিয়া ছায়া সদয়ে হামায়া
তোমার চরণ ধরি
তোমার চরণ ধরি
ও তোমার চরণ ধরি
তোমার চরণ
ছয় বেদ তুমি ছয় দোষ সদি ছয় গুণ দেবদাসে ছয় বেদ
তুমি সদি গুণ দেবদাসে
ছয় বেদ তুমি ছয় দোষ সদি ছয় গুণ দেবদাসে ছয় বেদ
তুমি জয় দোষ সদি
গুণ ছয় শত সঙ্গ দেহে আমারে ছয়
সত
শত
সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে
ছয় শত সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে
সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে
বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে
বসেছে সঙ্গে
বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে বসেছি সঙ্গে একাকি আমার নাই তাই বড় হরিনাম সংকীর্তনে একাকি আমার নাই তাই বড় তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি কৃপা
বিন্দু দিয়া
তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া
তুমি কৃপা করে বিন্দু দিয়া
দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার শপথি আছে
কৃষ্ণ সে তোমারা কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো તમારો છે
कृष्ण से तुम्हार कृष्ण दिते पारो तुम्हारा सब किया छे
कृष्ण से तुम्हारा कृष्ण दे पारो तुम्हारा
আমি তো গঙ্গার কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি
আমি তো कंगाल कृष्णा कृष्णा बोले
আমি তো গঙ্গার কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি
আমি তো कंगाल कृष्णा कृष्णा बोले
ভাই তব পাছে পাছে ভাই তব পাছে পাছে ওরে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়া সাগর নাসি করুণা করি বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দিয়া পদ ছায়া শোধনে আমার দিয়া পদ ছায়া শোধনে আমার তোমার চরণ ধরি তোমার চরণ ধরি হরে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর সে করুণা করি বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর जय भगवती विनव जय वैष्णव ठाकुर भगवती विनव जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद O Venerable Vaishnava, O Ocean of mercy, be merciful unto your soul. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold on to your lotus feet.
Control my six person, rectify my six or bestow upon me the six qualities and offer unto me the six kinds of holiness.
I do not find it strength to carry on alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just one drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours. You are God. Give it to me. I am simply running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna.
50 मिनट तक जय जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवतोत्तमश्लोके भागवत नैष्टिकी भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text 32. कचित् बुद्धः स्वस्ति अनमीवा आस्ते स्वल्पका पुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः य कृष्णपदाङ्किता मार्गपांशुषु अचेतन्तः प्रेम प्रेम विभिन्नधैर्यः कचित् बुधो स्वस्ति अनमिवास्ते स्वल्पाकपुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः ये कृष्णपदाङ्कितमार्गपांशुषु अचेस्ततप्रेम विभिन्नधैर्या कचित् बुद्ध स्वस्ति अनामिवास्ते स्वल्पपुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः ये कृष्णपदाङ्कितमार्गपांशुषु अजयस्तप्रेम विभिन्नधैर्यः
कचित्
स्वस्ति अनमेवास्ते स्वल्पपुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः ये कृष्णपादाङ्कितमार्गपांशुषु अजयस्तप्रेम विभिन्नधैर्यः कचित् बुधो स्वस्ति अनामिवास्ते स्वपुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः ये कृष्णपादाङ्कितमार्गपांशुषु अजयस्तप्रेम विभिन्नधैर्यः कचित् बुधः स्वस्ति अनमेवास्ते स्वल्पपुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः ये कृष्णपादाङ्कितमार्गपांशुषु अजयस्तप्रेम विभिन्नधैर्यः कचित् बुधः स्वस्ति अनामिवास्ते स्वल्पपुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः ये कृष्णपादाङ्कितमार्गपांशुषु अजयस्तप्रेम विभिन्नधैर्यः कचित् बुधः स्वस्ति अनामिवास्ते स्वल्पपुत्रो भगवत्प्रपन्नः ये कृष्णपादाङ्कितमार्गपांशुषु अजयस्तप्रेम विभिन्नधैर्यः. Word to word meaning. Kashit, whether, Buddha, very learned, Swasti, well, Anamidaha, faultless, Aste, does exist, Swalpaka Putraha.
Swapalka Putra.
Akrura, the son of Swapalka.
Akrura, the son of Swapalka.
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan,
regarding the personality of Godhead.
regarding personality of Godhead.
Prapannaha,
Prapannaha,
surrendered.
surrendered.
Ya,
Yaha,
one who.
one who.
Krishna, the Lord.
Lord.
Padankita,
Adam,
marked with footprints.
marked with footprints.
Marga,
Marga,
path.
path.
Pamshushu,
Namshushu,
in the dust.
dust.
Achestata,
Chestata,
exhibited.
exhibited.
Prema Vibhinnaha,
Prema Vibhinna,
lost in transcendental love.
lost in transcendental love.
Deiyaha,
Idea,
mental equilibrium.
mental equilibrium.
Translation purport by His Majesty Savacharananda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki. Please tell me whether Akrura, the son of Swapanka, is doing well. He is a faultless soul, surrendered onto the personality of God. He once lost his mental equilibrium due to his ecstasy of transcendental love and fell down the dust of a road which is marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna. Please respond. Please tell me whether Akrura,
Please tell me whether Akrura,
the son of Swapanka,
the son of Swapalka,
is doing well.
is doing well.
He is a faultless soul,
He is a faultless soul,
surrendered onto the personality of God.
surrendered unto the personality of God.
He once lost his mental equilibrium
He once lost mental equilibrium
due to his ecstasy of transcendental
due
love
to his ecstasy of transcendental love
and fell down the dust of a road
and fell down the dust of the road,
which is marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna.
which is marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When Akrura went to Vrindavan in search of Krishna, he saw the footprints of the Lord on the dust of Nandagram and at once fell on them in the ecstasy of transcendental love. This ecstasy is possible for a devotee who is fully absorbed in insensate thoughts of Krishna. Such a pure devotee of the Lord is naturally faultless because he is always associated with the supremely pure personality of God. Constant thought of the Lord is the antiseptic method for keeping oneself free from the infectious contamination of material qualities. The pure devotee of the Lord is always in the company of the Lord by thinking of Him. Yet, in the particular context of time and place, the transcendental emotions take a different turn, and this breaks the mental equilibrium of the devotee. Lord Chaitanya displayed the typical example of transcendental ecstasy, as we can understand in the life of this incarnation of God. That's all. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dādati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Gadapadakavaram Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vidam Samsajivam Sadvaitam Savanutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakambidamsya He Krishna Karano Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaskute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabham Sade Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalaputrabhyashta Kripa Sandati Avasha Padidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishvanebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak today on this very beautiful literature of Srimad Bhagavatam. Before we start today's session, let me offer my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas assembled here. Obviously, you're all dedicated your life to Krishna service. So I'm just going to try to present what I've heard, what I've read in the books of Prabhupada. If there are any mistakes, please forgive me. If there's anything good that you see, what I'm presenting, please give due credit to Srila Prabhupada and his teachings. So this canto, the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is a very beautiful canto where the discussions are primarily between Vidura and Uddhava. In the beginning of this canto, so actually this conversation between Vidura and Uddhava leads to the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. Right? This becomes the the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. This entire Srimad Bhagavatam, as you all know, has got 10 important subject matters. Whenever we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we should know that Bhagavatam has got 10 subject matters. These 10 subject matters are here in 2.10.1. So these are the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just to give context to where this verse is. Atasarga visargasya sthanam poshanam utaya manvantaraha isha anukataha nirodha mukti ashraya. So anything that is presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam is within the context of these 10 subject matters. Sarga means creation, Visarga means secondary creation, Sthana means planetary position, Poshana means the Lord's protection, Udaya means dedicatedness. At the same point, a good can exist, a bad can also exist. This is illustrated in the example of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. Manvantaraha, the different Manvantaras, the 14 Manvantaras, very detailed, very detailed explanation of the 8 cantos of Bhagavatam. Then Isha Anukataha, Isha Anukataha, different pastimes of the Lord. These are all the Matsya incarnation of the Lord. The Gajendra incarnation of the Lord, these are all these different Isha Anukataha. Then Nirodha Mukti Ashraya. Now amongst this Nirodha obviously means destruction. And the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, in the first section, different kinds of liberation are being mentioned. Mukti is obviously liberation, Ashraya Tattva, shelter. This Ashraya Tattva is particularly explained in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. So when we talk about Ashraya Tattva, the Ashraya Tattva is Krishna. So that's why in this Nirodha Mukti Ashraya, the last subject matter of Ashraya is Krishna, and that is presented in a detailed fashion in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. That's why there is one canto which is dedicated for Krishna's festivals. Because the whole Bhagavatam is trying to actually take us to the point of understanding who is Krishna. When Sukadeva Goswami is presenting this Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, his whole intent is to somehow plant the seed of Krishna Prem in the mind of Parikshit Maharaj. That's why Parikshit Maharaj is also very keen. Jai Shri Jagannath Dev Sundar Darshan Jai. Parikshit Maharaj is also very keen to think about Krishna. He also wants to be always observing Krishna's pastimes. So you see here in the second canto, 2, 8, 3. Katayasva Mahabhaga Yataham Akhilatmani Krishne Niveshya Nishankam Manastyakshe Kalevaram. So this is Parikshit Maharaj, the very beginning. This is what he's saying. Oh, greatly fortunate Sukadeva Goswami. Parikshit Maharaj is speaking this. Please continue narrating Srimad Bhagavatam so that I can place my mind upon the Supreme Soul Lord Krishna and being completely free from material qualities, thus relinquish this world. So Parikshit Maharaj is requesting Sukadeva Goswami that whatever you present, present it in such a way that Lord Krishna can be somebody whom I can place my mind on. Katasya, see? This word is very important. Katayasva, continue speaking. Mahabhaga, Niveshya Nishankaram. Krishna Niveshya Nishankaram. I want to think about Krishna. And that's why the Ashraya Tattva of the Srimad Bhagavatam particularly emphasizes on Krishna Katha. No other Purana or literature emphasizes as much importance to Krishna Katha as much as Srimad Bhagavatam does. Because one only has 7 days to live, right? You have to give it the most important subject matter. And that's why the subject matter of Bhagavatam is topmost. Because it is spoken in a concise fashion in just 7 days. So, in today's verse, right, This Vidura, when he is speaking to Uddhava, is particularly celebrating Akrura's devotion. If we go to that verse today, P132. Right. So this chapter is entirely questions by Vidura to Uddhava. So here, if you see, please tell me whether Akrura, the son of Swapalka, is doing well. He is a faultless soul, surrendered unto the personality of God. He once lost his mental equilibrium due to his ecstasy of transcendent love and fell down on the dust of a road which is marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna. So, as you all know this episode, Akrura visited Vrindavan. Akrura visited Vrindavan to invite Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. Akrura was sent by Kamsa to call Krishna and Balaram from Vrindavan to Mathura so that Kamsa can use as an opportunity to actually engage in a wrestling match. Right? He wanted Chandur and Mushtik to engage in a wrestling match so that Krishna and Balaram can be killed. Kamsa realized that there was no other way to kill Krishna and Balaram. He tried so many other ways, he sent so many demons, none of it was possible. His attempts were all a failure. So finally, Kamsa decided, Akrura, you go and call Krishna. Because if you go and call, Krishna and Balaram will come. Because Kamsa knew that Akrura was a devotee of the Lord. So Akrura travelled from Mathura to Vrindavan. And when he travelled from Mathura to Vrindavan, he was in so much ecstasy. He wanted to, see the Lord. He was so, when he got this opportunity to see the Lord, he was trembling with ecstasy. Even before he reached Vrindavan, right, he started, when he when he was at the entrance of Vrindavan, he started rolling in the dust of Vrindavan. So that Akrura, Vidura is inquiring here from Uddhava, how that pastime, he is recollecting that very beautiful pastime that Akrura had with Krishna and Balaram. So when Akrura reached this holy land of Vrindavan, and when he was about to go and meet Krishna and Balaram, obviously Akrura was in ecstasy. He was thinking when he will see the Lord. He was so eager to see the Lord. Very, very eager. Wanted to see the Lord at any cost. He was trembling. So, somehow he entered Vrindavan. And when he entered Vrindavan, all the gopis in Vrindavan, when they realized that Akrura has come, they were very sad. But they thought, okay, if Akrura has come here, then there is some reason why he has come here. They could sense that Akrura was probably, trying to separate Krishna from the gopis. This the gopis, could understand. They could understand Akrura's mentality. So when Akrura came, and when he obviously met Krishna and Balaram, met Nanda Maharaj, and requested Nanda Maharaj that Kamsa is inviting for a wrestling match. And Nanda Maharaj was obliged. Nanda Maharaj said, okay, because if he has to visit them, then that's fine. Of course, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they were also not very pleased with parting away from Krishna and Balaram. So they asked Akrura to stay for a day, right? So that the next morning they can take Krishna and Balaram along with him. When this was happening, the gopis were completely absorbed in the thought of Krishna. And they were experiencing the love of separation from Krishna. And then we all know the incident in terms of how Akrura finally took Krishna and Balaram along with him, and how the gopis felt separation when the chariot of Krishna and Balaram was leaving Vrindavan. So as we all know, Vrindavan is such a beautiful forest. And it is said that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Even though apparently it looked like Krishna left along with Akrura, he actually never leaves Vrindavan. The lotus feet of Krishna is marked in every inch of the land in this holy Dham Vrindavan. When we travel in Vrindavan, Vraja, so it's called Vraja. Vraja means people keep walking. People keep walking in Braja. That's why it's called Braja. Nobody stays in one place. There, the entire dust of the land is marked with Krishna's lotus. And as we all know, Krishna's lotus feet is so soft. So soft. That's why the Gopi sing, Pranatadehinam Papakarvishranam Pranakritanurem Prannichedanam Pranakritatutam. We'll go to that verse, 10:31:7. So this is how the Gopis describe Krishna's lotus feet. You can repeat after me. Pranatadehinam Papakarshanam Pranatadehinam Papakarshanam Trinichuranamudham Sriniketanam Panivanarpitam Te Padambujam Viduje Suna Grindihakshayam. One more time. Pranatadehinam Papakarshanam Trinichuranudham Sriniketanam Trinicharanudham Sriniketanam Pranipanapitam Te Padambujam Te Padambujam Vedaguje Suna Grindihakshayam. Pranatadehinam Papakarshanam Trivicharanudam Sriniketanam Panipanapitam Te Padambujam Vedaguje Suna Grindihakshayam. So, it's a very beautiful verse. The Gopis sing, celebrating Krishna's lotus feet. He says, your lotus feet destroy the past sins of all embodied souls who surrender to them. Those feet follow after the cows in the pastures and the eternal abode of the goddess of fortune. Since you once put those feet on the hooves of the great serpent Kaliya, please place them upon our breasts and tear away the lust in our hearts. So this is the speciality of Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna's lotus feet destroys the past sins of all embodied souls. And what does Krishna do? These feet follow after the cows in the pastures in the eternal abode of the goddess. So usually we all follow Krishna, right? But Krishna follows the cows in the pastures. You see how glorious the cows in Vrindavan. Krishna is following the cows, right? And in the eternal abode, the goddess of worship. So that land of Vrindavan, Krishna has always been, walking barefoot. Krishna has been walking barefoot because he wants to give Mother Earth the benediction of his beautiful lotus feet. So that personality of Godhead, whom we are all accustomed to follow, that personality of Godhead is actually following the cows. So that's why the land of Vrindavan is filled with the impressions of the lotus feet of God. And we visit Vrindavan, we can see that, that's why sometimes we visit Vrindavan, it's said you can walk barefoot. Right? Walk barefoot because Krishna is walked barefoot. Krishna throughout Vrindavan is walked barefoot. So that's the speciality of this land of Vrindavan. So the Gopis don't stop here. The Gopis go on further to explain the glories of Krishna's lotus feet. For the next verse. अतति तद्भवं मन्निकाननं त्रुटियुगायते त्वामवीक्षणम् कुटिलकुण्टलं श्रीमुखं दृशेत्. So let me see what is that verse. Atati tadbhavam annikananam. So how Krishna, he roams around in this forest of Vrindavan. Yeah, 10:31:15 verse. So this is how Krishna moves around in the beautiful forest of love. It repeat, Atati adbhavan annikananam Trutiyughayate tvamapashyatam Kutilakuntalam srimukam chate Jada udhikshatam pakshmakritrisham. You see, when you go out to the forest during the day, a tiny fraction of a second becomes like a millennium for us because we cannot see you. And even when we can eagerly look upon your beautiful face, so lovely with its adornment of curly locks, our pleasure is hindered by highlights which were fashioned by the foolish creator. So when Krishna goes to the forest and goes out to the forest of Vrindavan, the gopis miss his darshan. This is in one day. Imagine what is going to happen to them when Akrura is actually taking Krishna and Balaram away from Vrindavan to Mathura for a long period of time. This is just one day when Krishna is actually entering the forest and the gopis are not able to see Krishna until he comes back. So they are saying when you go out to the forest during the day, a tiny fraction of a second becomes like a millennium for us because we cannot see. So this is the love that the gopis had for Krishna. That's why the love of the gopis to the Krishna is incomparable. So Akrura, when he is actually visiting Vrindavan, he is able to get a tiny fraction of this exchange of love between the gopis and Krishna. He also knows he is going to see his beloved, he is going to see his master, Krishna. That's why he is falling in the dust of Vrindavan, he is rolling on the ground, all kinds of horripilations, the 8 kinds of ecstasies are becoming visible because he knows that this form of Krishna that he is going to see in Vrindavan is something that the gopis are trying to drink that nectar of that form every day. Such a form Krura is going to see. Right? So you can imagine how the residents of Vrindavan are experiencing this love of Krishna. And that's why the Prabhu says, even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was physically present in this planet, Mahaprabhu also exhibited this kind of prema. That's why it's called Vipralampa prema. The prema that one experiences when there is separation from the Lord. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced that separation. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Gambhira, right, this place is called Gambhira. Gambhira means depth. Gambhira means something which is very deep. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resided in Jagannath Puri in Gambhira. Mahaprabhu, when he was residing in Gambhira, he used to constantly reflect this mood of the gopis, feeling separation from Krishna. Because he was carrying the Baba of Srimati Radharani, he was always in this constant feeling of separation from his Lord. So much so that Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami had to control Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because otherwise, if the doors are not locked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would run, go to the Jagannath temple, have darshan of Jagannath, fall there in ecstasy, right, and continuously cry. So such is the prema, such is the love that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited. And where did he get that recipe to love Krishna? That recipe was received from the gopis in Vrindavan. The gopis in Vrindavan, their love for Krishna is incomparable. Right? That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you cannot compare. Premo Kumarto Mahan. Premo Kumarto Mahan. There is nothing which is incomparable, discomparable to the love of the gopis exhibited to Krishna. So when Akrura decided to take Krishna and Balaram to Mathura, the gopis ran after the chariot, ran behind the chariot. They cannot bear that separation. In fact, they said, this Akrura is not actually Akrura, he is Krura. His name should not have been Akrura, it should have been Krura. Krura means what? Cruel. He is not Akrura, he is Krura. He is separating us from Krishna. How can he be Akrura? Somebody who is separating us from the Lord, right? Is he somebody who is considered very good? No, not really, right? All the acharyas, the Guru Varga, they are all trying to bring us closer to Krishna. But here is a gentleman who is posing himself as a devotee of Krishna, but is actually separating Krishna from the gopis. You see, it's a very interesting position, right? But even in that separation, the gopis are able to exhibit their essence. This is spiritual life. In material life, there is happiness only when there is coming together, right? Assume that there's a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever relationship, right? Mother, father. When they come together, there is happiness. When there is separation, there is distress. Correct? But in the spiritual world, there is happiness even in coming together, and also happiness when there is separation. In fact, the happiness grows multifold when there is separation. The bhava that one experiences in separation from the Lord is so much higher that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself wanted to exhibit that bhava. He wanted to experience that bhava. That's why Mahaprabhu embraced this Vipralamba bhava. Why did he embrace Vipralamba bhava? Because he wanted to experience that love that the gopis had when they were separated from Krishna. When Akrura took Krishna and Balaram away from the gopis, right? The distress that the gopis felt was actually happiness because they were experiencing Vipralamba bhava, and this particular rasa Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to experience. That's why Krishna wanted to experience. And Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and took that bhava, so that he could experience this pleasure combined with so-called distress. You see, this is the unique position of the spiritual world. The spiritual world, everything is absolute. Separation is absolute. Coming together is absolute. Everything is absolute. That's why even when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, if you see very carefully, even the Hare Krishna mantra has got this aspect of Vipralamba and Sambhava. You see? When you chant Hare Krishna mantra, what happens? Hare Krishna. What happens? Hare is Radharani, right? Krishna. Hare Krishna. They coming together. There is Sambhava. Then Krishna, Hare Hare. Vipralamba. Then Hare Rama. Sambhava. Rama, Hare Hare. Vipralamba. So even in the chanting of Krishna's names, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that we chant, both of these concepts of Vipralamba and Sambhava are so tightly integrated. You see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this medicine of Harinam to all of us. It is just not some ordinary name that we are chanting. You can chant any name, you can chant Krishna, Rama. Why is it arranged in such a way? Why is it arranged so beautifully? It is arranged so beautifully that you can experience the highest love of Godhead by chanting this mantra. That is why it is said that if you chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you can actually experience your love of Krishna. Because this concept of Vipralamba and Sambhava is actually present in the Holy Name. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, out of all the devotional aspects, right, as we know, there are 9 devotional processes. Right? What are the 9 devotional processes? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedam. These are the 9 processes. So who explains this 9 processes of bhakti? Prahlad Maharaj. In the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he gives a detailed explanation of these 9 processes of devotional service. Now, in these 9 processes of devotional service, Akrura represents one element of devotional service, right? What is that? Vandanam. We usually say Vandanam, we give the example of Akrura. Just like there are examples for each of those different personalities. For Shravanam, we have Parikshit Maharaj. For Kirtanam, we have Sukadeva Goswami. Like, for each of these facets of bhakti, there is one person who is being expert in that particular aspect. For Vandanam, it is Akrura. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita says, out of all these 9 processes of devotional service, Harinam Sankirtan, chanting of Krishna, is the topmost. Is the topmost. Where does it come? In the Antya Leela. Sorry. So, if you go to the Antya Leela, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, out of these 9 processes of devotional service, is it CC you give, Prabhu? You come, huh? CC Antya 4. Oh, it's all in caps. I should not give it in caps, is it? Let me try. Let me try Vedabase. Here, if you see, it is for. Oh, sorry, Antya. Not this one. So he says, go to the. How do you find? Control F. Repeating, no? So there is this verse. What is the Sanskrit? Niraprad namaliye paye premdan. Niraprad namaliye. See. Niraprad namliye paye premdan. So, in that particular verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining that all the 9 processes of devotional service, the highest is actually chanting Krishna's names. Ah, 470. Yeah. Bhajanera Matye Shreshta Navavida Bhakti Krishna Prema Krishnade Dhara Mahashakti. Among the ways of executing devotional service, the 9 prescribed methods are the best. For these processes have great potency to deliver Krishna and especially Lord. Right? This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, right? And we know this verse. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Dandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, all this, right? Back to the 7th canto. Tara Madhya Sarva Shreshna Nama Sankirtan Niraprad Namaye Paye Premta. So you see here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, of the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. If one does so, avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtains the most valuable love of God. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, among all these different processes of bhakti, the most important is to chant Krishna names. So, this love of God that we are talking about, which Akrura experienced, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced, all this can be experienced by chanting Krishna names. So that's why this chanting is a very, very important process. Sometimes what happens is in our devotional life, we think that this completion of the 16 rounds, right, is something that we have to do as a duty. So what we do every day, we chant 16 rounds, okay, and then we go and engage ourselves in other services. Actually, what we don't understand is that if we do this chanting properly, every other service of Krishna, Krishna will personally assist us. This chanting is so powerful because whenever we chant Krishna's names, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar, Krishna is personally present before us when we chant. And that chanting has got so much potency that when Krishna is in front of us, right, and when we relate to Krishna, when we associate with Krishna, that association strengthens our devotional service. So this is a very, very important anga of bhakti. In fact, the most important anga of bhakti is chanting Krishna names. Every other anga is subservient to this anga. This much we should understand. Every other service that we do, right, is actually subservient to this anga of chanting Krishna. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasized Tara Madhya Sarva Sreshta Nama Sankirtana. There are so many different processes, 9 different processes of bhakti, but what is that Madhya Sreshta, the one in the center, and the one which is very important? Chanting Krishna's names. That's why we should never be inattentive while we're chanting Krishna's names. We should always figure out a way by which we can actually sit down and call out Krishna's names, right, with full attention, no distraction. If we are allocating 1.5 hours for chanting, we should keep our mobile phone, everything off. Nothing should be near us. That time is that we should spend should be exclusively for Krishna. Nothing else. If we use that time for anything else other than Krishna, that means we are disrespecting Krishna. Somebody is coming to your house and knocking your door, right? What will you do? Open the door and receive that person with respect, correct? That is what is happening when we chant Krishna's name. When we chant Krishna's name, Krishna is appearing before us. And if we don't pay attention in taking the holy name through our ears into our heart, then we cannot experience Krishna. That's why in that verse that Rupa Goswami compiled, right? What is it called? Tunde Tandavini. What is that? Where is that? Tunde Tandavini. I think that comes in Antya. So 199. You see? That's a very beautiful process that Rupa Goswami explains. Tunde Tandavini Rathim Vidunate Vidanate Tundavani Labdaye Karna Krodha Kadembini Gadagate Karna Bhudevya Sparham Cheta Prangana Sankini Vijagate Sarvendriyanam Kritim No Jane Janita Kiyadvir Amritai Krishneti Varnak Dvayi. Now you see this very important point that Rupa Goswami is making. What is he saying? I do not know how much nectar the 2 syllables Krishna have produced. But the holy name of Krishna is chanted. It appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of years. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become. So you see the process of chanting is so beautifully explained by Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is saying when you chant, Krishna is dancing, but how will Krishna enter your heart? Through the holes of the ears. That is why it is said when we chant, we should hear what we chant. Unless we hear what we chant, Krishna will not enter our heart. And if it does not enter our heart, what will happen? We will not get purified. That's why this process of purification takes so much time. Why? Because we have not taken chanting seriously. In the beginning of the Bhagavatam, it is explained, Pravishya Karanarandrena Swanambhavam Saroruham Dunoti Samalam Krishna Sarilasya Yata Sarat. So if you go to the Srimad Bhagavatam, I think it's 284. Now, you see this process of what happens when Krishna goes into your heart. I think the verse after this, 285. See? Pravishta Karanarandrena Swanambhava Saroham Dunoti Samalam Krishna Sarilasya Yata Sarat. The sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Soul, that is the Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of a self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleanses the dust of material association such as lust, anger, and hankering. Thus it acts like autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. So you see how powerful this sound incarnation is when it enters our ears. What does it do? It goes and sits within the heart and purifies us of lust, anger, and hankering. Because these are all the chief anarthas that are there in our heart. And these anarthas, you cannot destroy it by your own attempt. The only way we can destroy it is by taking the holy name, taking Krishna and Krishna's instructions. What is Krishna? Krishna is Krishna's name, right? Krishna's instructions is Srimad Bhagavatam. So if we regularly train ourselves to hear Krishna's names and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, then Krishna will enter into our heart and cleanse all the dirt within our heart. This is the formula. That's why unless we take the chanting of this Hare Krishna mantra seriously, we will not be able to make progress in spirituality. It's a very important point actually. Very, very important. Well, that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Taramadhya Sarvasreshta Nama Sankirtan. This Nama Sankirtan is at topmost. That's why when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, right? Why Mahaprabhu was able to experience these symptoms? Right? Because Mahaprabhu was so deeply absorbed in chanting and hearing about Krishna. This whole concept of Krishna explaining Manmana, Bhava, Madbhakta, all these different aspects, right? Thinking about Krishna, seeing Krishna, all this is possible when? Only when we chant and hear Krishna. Then, what the gopis experienced in separation from Krishna, that bhava will manifest in our heart. Otherwise, the dust which is in our heart, we will never be able to cure that dust. That's why Prabhupada in today's words, in this purport also Prabhupada explains how the medicine can cure the disease of the heart. How Krishna's presence, Krishna's activities is actually like a medicine. If you go back to that verse today, Prabhupada explains that, here it is. 132, right? Here, Prabhupada is saying, see, constant thought of the Lord is the antiseptic method for keeping oneself free from the infectious contamination of material qualities. You see? Constant thought of the Lord is an antiseptic method for keeping oneself free from infectious contamination. How do we constantly think about the Lord? By actually singing, glorifying, and hearing that glorification. That's why the 10th canto also, when Krishna Leela begins, right, the same point is made here. 10:1-4. Bhava Aushada, see? Stotra Manobiraman, Nivritta Tarshay, Upagiyamana. Ka Uttama Shloka, Gunanuvada. You see this verse? Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except the butcher or one who is killing his own self? This is the right medicine. Constant hearing of the Lord is the right medicine for the soul. There is no other medicine. If at all we want a medicine that will cure us from this contamination of this material world, like Prabhupada is explaining, is Krishna's activities. That's why in the Mukunda Mala Stotra also, Kulashekar Alvar makes the same point, right? What does he say? The same, what is that verse? I think it's MM. Idam sariram parinama peshanam padatyavashyam sadisanti jarjanam kim aushadam muhitanme viramayam Krishna rasayam. Idam sariram parinama peshanam padatyavashyam sadisanti jarjanam. This body is anyway going to get destroyed. What is it? MM37. Put here, right? MM37. Kundamala. This one, right? It's there with the message. MM37, no? You see? Idam sariram parinama peshalam padatyavashyam satasandhi vajjaram kim aushadam, the same word. Prachasi mooda dhurmate niramayam Krishna rasamayam prabhasi. The body's beauty is fleeting, and at last the body must succumb to death after its hundreds of joints have stiffened with old age. So why bewildered fool? You are asking for a medication. Just take the Krishna elixir, the one cure that never fails. This is the power of chanting Krishna's names. But it is not just enough to chant, it is also important to hear. As all practicing devotees, right, one of the most important aspects where we all go wrong, right? Many times we think finishing 16 rounds is a formality. Oh, I promised 16 rounds with my spiritual master, let me finish chanting. No, it doesn't stop there. When we say chanting, chanting means chanting and hearing. Always remember that. Whenever you say chanting, right, it is chanting and hearing. It is not just chanting. If you think that we can progress only by just doing lip service, not possible. So if you really want this love of God, if you really want this relationship with Krishna, it is said, right, that we should actually have greed for this relationship. Laulyam. There should be greed that we should relate to Krishna. But that greed, how will that greed get reflected? That greed should get reflected whenever we chant Krishna's names. When we are chanting Krishna's names, we should be greedy to chant more and more and hear more and more. And this greediness will pave the way for us to come out of all of the anarthas that we have. Otherwise, this process will take a very long time. Very long time. That is why it is mentioned, right, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? One can go on chanting for any number of millions of lifetimes, right? I think it's RE 815. 816? बहु जन्म करे यदि श्रवण कीर्तन तबुत ना पाए